Alright, I think it's working this time. We're going to talk about the news, guys. What's going on in the world? This coronavirus thing is not going to go away. In the future, I'm not going to use that word because it is picked up by certain artificial intelligent algorithms that if you string together a certain amount of words, a certain way, a specific group of words, then your stream will get taken down like that. It's pretty hard to be able to disseminate information to people because of that. But I'm going to try my best. In the future, I will describe it as the coof or the vid or the cove. Something besides what the algorithm will pick up. Right now, Florida and its awesome governor, Ron DeSantis, has remained a bastion of freedom in this time of despotic jackboot thugs arresting people for not wearing masks and tasing people and cops literally getting fought on both sides by Antifa and by the Proud Boys, by the right and the left, by conservatives who typically don't even leave their home to bitch about anything. People who love Trump and who wove around Blue Lives Matter flags or thin blue line flags, meaning they were supporting these cops. Now you have conservatives throwing tear gas right back into the cops' faces and saying, F you, police. This is something you haven't really seen yet. So you have these two sides coming together, Antifa, like the far left, and the people who are just tired of the lockdowns coming together in their frustration against the authoritarianism that they're experiencing. And Florida has remained a bastion of freedom, of hope. And it is important to know that this is going to get much, much, much worse. This virus is an excuse for them to say, hey, we have a new mutation, a new strain was discovered. This is more virulent or more lethal or more deadly, and it's not responding to the vaccine that we now have to forcibly inoculate you with. The reason that they're going to claim this is because they want you to still have to wear a mask. They want you to still have to get vaccinated, and they still want you to practice social distancing. They don't want you to be able to assemble. They want to get rid of your First Amendment right, which is to peacefully assemble. So, of course, in Florida, you're going to have these new strains popping up, supposedly, these mutated strains that are more deadly. They're just trying to push. You have all of these different Democratic mayors in Democratic strongholds in Florida, like Miami and Palm Springs, that are literally bitching that Ron DeSantis hasn't destroyed Florida's economy like the rest of liberal America. You're talking about 40% of businesses, they're not going to come back, small businesses in New York City. New York City was the bastion. I keep using that word. Sorry, guys. New York City was this hub, this metropolis, this melting pot where all these different cultures were able to get together, were able to influence something greater. It was a metropolis of metropolises, a shining city, empire city, the Big Apple. Now you literally have pigeons getting attacked by rats because the rats are starving because there's no food out for them anymore. You have people getting chased down the street by rats that are starving to death. It's Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm on. I'm on the. Yeah, that was Stephanie. So, of course, in Florida, you're going to have all of this stuff popping up in order to make it so that they can shut the cities down. These This is largely about a transfer of wealth from small businesses to big conglomerations like Walmart, Amazon. Look at the stock of these businesses. They've gone through the roof since this happened. And you even have people like the mayor of New York City, de Blasio, saying that he's going to buy up the properties that are now vacant because people have fled the city in order to have freedom elsewhere in places that are less restrictive. But if you look at places like Sweden or South Dakota, for that matter, places that didn't lock down at all, you don't see very big a big death toll. The deaths are being exaggerated to some degree. You have, and I'm saying to some degree because of the algorithms, you have to take into account the fact that 97% of the people who've died with COVID had comorbidities. The average death rate is 82 years old. The survivability rate of someone who is within the typical workforce age bracket is 99.97%. This is not a lethal disease to the degree that we've seen in the past with things like Spanish flu or the smallpox. What this is a way for scientists working for people like Bill Gates to use specifically targeted RNA viruses to rewrite your DNA to make it so that you're more prone to susceptibility, or that you're less religiously inclined, or less violent, or less likely to rise up against the state. This is a matter of turning on and turning off certain genes that make you less susceptible or more susceptible to certain stimuli. This is just like how some people have a gene to be a drug addict to you that will literally recode your DNA. It can change who you are by switching on and switching off certain genes, making you more or less timid, more or less susceptible to things like alcoholism or drug addiction. It's just a matter of turning on and off genes using a very targeted retrovirus, which is an RNA inoculation, which is what COVID itself is, an RNA virus, a very, very common virus. The COOF is the type of virus, the fact that it looks like a sun covered in spikes so that it can attach itself to the cell walls. I expect to see an increase in numbers in the next couple of days and several weeks, said Dr. Mati Ragapal, infectious disease physician. Ragapal said the new strain is nearly the same, except it spreads much faster. The mask mandate is not here in Martin County. Martinus, Saint Martin, who rode on a white horse, who led a procession of children dressed as the Grim Reaper, the white horse that Christ rode on in the book of Revelations whenever he was going around cutting down everyone with a scythe. That was Martin, Saint Martin, Martimus, in case you don't know or are unfamiliar with the legend. Now we have this individual who we have now identified as having the new strain that evolved from the UK that is rapidly spreading. It is certainly concerning. I always request that folks adhere to social distancing guidelines. They adhere to cleanliness guidelines. They want to keep you away from each other. They don't want you to assemble. They don't want you to have your own constitutionally authorized, constitutionally mandated militia in order to be able to combat this tyranny. It shows how complex this virus is. And now that this new strain adds this extra layer of complexity, it can infect a lot more people. State and local leaders from across the Treasure Coast will address the new strain found in Martin County on Saturday. This is just trying to shut down Florida. That's all that is.
We begin tonight with sobering numbers on the coronavirus pandemic. Confirmed cases in the U.S. now top 20 million, nearly a quarter of the world's total. Half of America's cases.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that a quarter? Whenever there's only 380 million people in America, not even half of a billion, and there's probably 8.5 billion people on planet Earth, if properly tallied. We represent less than a tenth. Why do you think we have a quarter? Because they're inflating data. A man died on a motorcycle, had a motorcycle crash, and because he had COVID, they marked it down as a COVID death. Nope, not going to do that then. So, as I told you about last time, we have detected radio emissions from the Proxima Centauri star system that is just a little over 4 light years away. Also this year, researchers picked up a signal from a gas giant in the Tau Boutets Boutets system, just 51 light years from Earth. Like I said last time, we have these X-ray bubbles that surround the center of our galaxy, making the energetic look of our galaxy like a peanut with a hula hoop around it. And there are a couple other little things I want to show down here. Yeah, a radio telescope in the Australian outback mapped 83% of the observable universe in the course of over 300 hours of observation, and it revealed a big haul. 3 million galaxies, a full million of which had never been seen before. So we have more stars in the sky than we can even see. Beyond that, there's a visible light bubble that the space between galaxies, which are beacons of light, bastions of light, emit light at the speed of light, but the space between the galaxies is expanding faster than the speed of light, so that the light from one galaxy will never be seen by the other. This is a theoretical field that we can't see beyond, because the expansion of space is so fast at the edge of our visual field. There could be hundreds of millions of galaxies that we cannot see that are beyond that invisible bubble where space is faster than light itself. Venus may be the most inhospitable place in the solar system, with rolling acid clouds and hellish temperatures. That's why astronomers getting ready to look for phosphine, a smelly gas thought to be possible signature of alien life. So that I thought that was pretty cool too. But yeah. Also, you have a Harvard professor saying that aliens visited in 2017, the year that the eclipse went above planet Earth. You see, this is why I think things are getting much, much, much worse. That American eclipse that started in November of 2017 is exactly 7 years, well, not exactly, but it's 7 years between one eclipse and another eclipse that goes across America in the opposite direction. At the same time, you had Oumuamua, this long cylindrical rock, supposedly, that traveled from outside our solar system, looped around the sun, and then flew back out. This Harvard professor says it was an alien. Why are they pushing all this alien stuff now? It's because they're trying to make you scared. They're trying to give us a new enemy to fight. They're trying to keep you tucked and nestled inside your search for something outside of yourself and greater than yourself, instead of looking inside of yourself for something that is greater than yourself, your daily self. This is your higher self. They're trying to make you look up instead of look within. They're trying to make you scared. And if you think that this lockdown isn't going to get worse, eventually they're going to have it so that you'll have to have a vaccine passport in order to go to the movie theater, in order to travel. You will never see the end of masks. Masks are here to stay. I guarantee it. If you talk to people, it will be seen as an affront and that you're trying to kill grandma and you have no regard for their safety. You won't be able to meet people anymore. You won't be able to see someone smile. You won't be able to see someone's face. That's sad. Society has radically changed, more so than it did after 9/11, because of a virus that kills 99.9%, that does not kill 99.9% of the population that gets it, which is incredible. I mean, we literally have had Spanish flu and smallpox outbreaks in America. We have had bouts with the Black Death. We are destroying our economy. Just since this started, last year, in 2020, every dollar that has ever been made by America, 66% of them were made in 1 year. I saw McChickens at McDonald's go from $1 to like $1.80. More expensive to buy everything that I've seen except for gas, really. Everything's increasing in price. It's really easy to see if you have an Amazon shopping cart. You go back and look at something that you put in your cart days before without purchasing, and you'll see that the price has gone up. And this is across the board. This is why Bitcoin is exploding. We're going to see a dramatic value of our dollar as hyperinflation takes on. And then because of that, we'll see war, which is the ultimate economy booster. And who do you think we're going to go to war with? This is going to be Chinese proxy states. This is going to be North Korea. This is going to be Iran. I guarantee you within the first 9 months of this year, there'll be a war with Iran. There'll be a war with Taiwan from China. And we'll see a bunch of other interesting conflicts pop up around the world as the American petrodollar has to be enforced no longer by the hope of its citizens that it is stable, but by the barrel of a gun. That is the only way to stabilize, and this will lead to World War III. If you don't think that China is going to be an adversary that we will have a hard time putting down, you are sadly mistaken. They have spies everywhere, and they've taken a lot of the things that we hold in reserve, secret technologies that we were planning to use in this ultimate conflict of World War III, and they have the same exact shit that we do now. It's going to get bad. Get food, get water, learn how to survive in the wilderness. Make sure that you take good care of your family. And that's really the primary government that you need to pay attention to right now. Fuck Trump. Trump's out, unfortunately. But we're going to see on January 6th as millions of Trump supporters flood into Washington. It's going to be fucking nuts. It is going to be the beginning of conflict between the right and the left, unlike anything we've seen since the Civil War. Things are going to get very bad. I guarantee it. And they're going to try to distract you with things like aliens, with this Harvard professor, and with people in the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service who are putting forward this type of information, as well as people in the American Intelligence Service. They're trying to make the Watchmen style end of the world scenario where they false flag alien invasion that unites the world together. We move past money, etc., etc. Lots of humans get wiped out in concentration camps. Concentration camps are in our future. Have no doubt about it. They're on claim that these are quarantine camps for people who are at a high risk. You're at a high risk if you go into these FEMA camps. This is a perfect time for them to release things that are more virulent than the COOF. Things that they've been working on in laboratories. And they'll just say that it is a mutated version of this virus. Think about it. They want to make people... If you're going to throw a population off and inflict maximum casualties from people breaking quarantine, then what better way to do it than for an entire year make people obey ridiculous guidelines and take precautions as if a virus was extremely virulent and deadly when it in fact was not very deadly at all. They were predicting 2 million people dead, 200,000, big fucking deal. The fatality rate is almost non-existent for people in my age range who are moderately fucking healthy. Donald Trump, for Christ's sake, got it. He's 70-something years old and fat as fuck and not very good health. He eats McDonald's all the time. So what better way to infect a large population with a super deadly, super virulent virus that was engineered in a laboratory than to make everyone think that everything that you say as a government is bullshit and you're just trying to lock us down so that people still break quarantine, people don't wear masks, they don't think anything of it because you told us all this bullshit before. You're the boy who cried fucking wolf, government. And I think this is on purpose. I literally think this is on purpose. I think this is to make it so that people get infected at a much larger rate whenever this engineered, super virulent organism is released on an unsuspecting population that has gotten tired of listening to your bullshit. That'd be a very easy way to inflict depopulation, which Bill Gates is all about. And if you think that Bill Gates isn't on the bad guys team, then look into it. Window to the soul. Alright, I have no idea how long I've been talking, but I appreciate you guys tuning in. The Great Reset is already here. There's no way to go back. Your money is going to be worthless soon. And they're going to claim that it's going to be much safer to not pass people back and forth money notes. And they'll install digital currency at this time. They'll get rid of the US dollar and probably start the Amero, which will be a North American, Mexican, Canadian, United States of America currency, as we have a new North American Union, similar to the European Union. Getting rid of this pesky germ-covered money and replace it with something digital that we can put inside your fucking body. This will also be used. One of the reasons that you've heard stuff about Pizzagate and so much child molestation over the past several years is they're trying to also make you very fearful for this if you're a parent, so that you'll be willing to put the same type of locating device inside of your child.